We left off with Domenica smashing a wine glass after a heated with Olivia during girls' night at the couple's retreat. But if you thought the night was over, wrong. It's only just begun. Domenica is distraught and runs off with tears streaming down her face. The first person she bumps into is Jackson, who asks, "What's happened?" "No. No. You of all people, I'm not effing speaking to," Domenica blasts. Jackson is confused about the fiery response, so she tells him, "Ask your effing wife." Stream every episode of Married at First Sight for free on 9 now. Meanwhile, Olivia is still with the other girls, venting about Domenica. Ella comes to Domenica's defense and says, the way that she projects, it's been totally misunderstood. For her, that's just who she is. You don't think that's aggressive? Olivia fires back to stand up and yell at us with a broken glass. That's like security, please. Olivia tells the camera she doesn't see how she can move forward with Domenica. I do not care to find a way forward. I don't want to be associated with white trash like that. I'm good, she says. Episode 23 recap. Jackson heads back to the boys and reports back about Domenica. Jack immediately springs into action. He finds her standing in the dark, shaking and crying. You don't have to explain yourself to me right now, Jack tells her. I know you will tell me eventually. But you've got to look at you right now, and just know that I'm here with YA. While Jack comforts Domenica, the other brides and grooms gather to discuss what happened. She got up and stood over me and smashed her wine glass, and then waved the broken wine glass in my face, as she stood over me and screamed, Olivia tells the group. Domenica and Olivia on the moment that led to a wine glass shattering at MAFS couples retreat. She wasn't holding it at you. She wasn't using it as a weapon, Ella adds, but Olivia isn't backing down. Apparently she's really not doing okay. But that's really not my responsibility to care, Olivia continues. The next morning, Domenica wakes up feeling ashamed of herself and says, the fact that I broke a glass was not okay. But this cloud does have a silver lining. It appears to have strengthened Domenica's relationship. Jack coming to find me when I was in literally my darkest moment. It was everything that I needed, she says. I really appreciate him more than anything. Jack later debriefs on the situation with the boys and shares Domenica's side of the story, which raises some concerns for Jackson. That's not the Liv I know and the Liv I've fallen for. That's something completely different, he says. Jackson is unimpressed with Olivia's behavior. Jackson sits down with Olivia, who doubles down on her story. Like her voice sucked. It does. She is loud. Her voice does suck, Olivia says. She's not feeling apologetic about it, because Domenica is loud and tells the camera, me elevating my voice and shouting at her. I just gave her a taste of her own medicine, and I'm not sorry at all. Jackson urges Olivia to try not to let anger get in, but we have a feeling the anger has already taken hold. Even if there are apologies, I don't think I can accept it, Olivia says. I can hold a grudge for a very long time, and I've held a grudge for a lot less. In pictures, a sneak peek inside the couple's retreat, more than $6,000 per night. Meanwhile, Matt, who's wanting romance, jumps in a hot tub with Kate. He's on a high after hearing Kate spoke well of him at the girls' night. Kate offers to give him a hug, and they embrace. Matt decides to heat things up by slapping her bottom on the way out before falling back into the hot tub. Don't ever hit me on the bum again, or I'll punch you in the head, Kate warns him as they are drying off. Things aren't going well for Carolina and Dion. Carolina was very happy to chat with Daniel while on the couple's retreat. She heads off to call Daniel, who she's been seeing in secret. I wish you were here. I'd have a way better time, that's for sure, Carolina tells him. She adds that she's leaving soon and Daniel replies, amazing. I'm going to steal you. Despite her interest in Daniel, Carolina wants to keep up appearances with Dion and invites him to join her for a run, knowing he hates running. Dion is very confused, catching on to her strange behavior. "It's just games. These are all little games," he says. As the couples prepare for a final night together, Jackson has concerns about how Olivia will behave. If Domenica comes and apologizes. Jackson asks. Jackson tries to persuade Olivia to be civil towards Domenica. "No. If it was up to me, I would burn her at the stake. I'm a petty person," Olivia says. "I can't see a future where I don't despise her. She's white trash. I can't forget this." "You can always be civil," Jackson urges, but Olivia isn't listening. Jackson weighs in on the drama between Olivia and Domenica on MAFS. Brent pulls Tamara aside to talk about their relationship, and she admits she's feeling claustrophobic. Brent is left feeling disappointed and deflated. "It's kind of like a no-hope situation. I don't know where to go from here," he says. Sam and Ol's relationship has also hit a bad spot, but he has just the plan to save it. "A poem? That's sweet. That's cute," Samantha says after listening to his cute words. Sam and Ol hug it out after Ol's poem. Carolina and Dion are also in strife, and he grabs her for a chat. "You've made it very clear you want nothing more than a friendship," he says. Dion notes the offer to go for a run was strange, because she knows he doesn't like it. "You're not willing to do anything that I like to do. You're not willing to compromise," she hits back. They go back and forth, until Dion eventually just gets up and walks off. "I'm not doing this," he says. "All I've done is give. I'm sick of giving. It just hurts me too much," Dion vents to the boys. Domenica and Jack arrive late, and she feels very vulnerable walking in. Olivia tries to grab her for a hug, but Domenica isn't keen to do that just yet. "I only really did it for Jackson's benefit. When it comes to Domenica, I don't care. She's to me," Olivia tells the camera. As the group sits down, Domenica's priority is apologizing. "Do I need a Xanax before we have this chat, or what?" Olivia says under her breath. Olivia makes snide comments while Domenica is apologizing. "Hey, that was rude," Jackson tells her. But his concerns aren't enough to stop her, and she continues to make snide comments. Domenica proceeds to apologize and says, "There was never a moment that I thought that behavior was okay." Domenica apologizes to the group, and for the most part the brides and grooms accept her apology. "Things were said to me in a way that triggered really deep traumas in me from childhood and adolescence. This is bull tea. This is bull tea," Olivia mutters under her breath as Domenica continues to apologize. "I think owning up to what happened. It was really important for me. I wanted the right time. It's never the right time to be like," Domenica says, before she's cut off. "Hey, sorry I broke a glass in your face," Olivia butts in. "Do you realize how serious it is? It's assault what you did last night." Domenica stays quiet while Ella and Jack coming to her defense. In the end, Olivia won't take the apology, although everyone else is okay with it, even Jackson. The apology. "It felt so fake and rehearsed and shallow," Olivia tells the camera. Olivia fumes about Domenica's apology. Domenica excuses herself from the table, and it appears that all the brides and grooms, besides Carolina and Olivia, accept the apology. "I feel violated," Olivia continues. But Jackson isn't happy. Jackson tells her he did not appreciate the snide comments she made throughout the apology. "You saying that right now? I'm feeling so vulnerable and so attacked. I need unconditional support," Olivia says. "That's not the person that you are," Jackson says. Jackson confronts Olivia about her snide comments. "It is the type of person that I am because I said it," Olivia cries. "It's not nice and it's not lovely, and I'm sorry, I'm not nice and lovely all the time." I'm not saying you